Welfare, Mr. LaHood from Illinois.
Thank you, Chairman Smith, and I want to thank you for bringing us here today for this hearing. The more we can get to real America, which is what today is all about, the better we're going to be as a committee. And as we listen and learn and acknowledge the challenges that all of you have talked about today, is going to be beneficial to us as we go back to Washington, D.C. and have to decide many of these issues. I want to thank each and every one of you for your valuable testimony today. Mr. McDade, thanks for your service to our country. And I want to thank AWP for having us at this wonderful location. I noticed we got a lot of wood products here. Mr. McDade, I was hoping we could have had some Devil's Due product here, but maybe that'll come later. Again, this has been very, very helpful for us to hear this today. I want to just thinking about what each one of you have said in your individual businesses, as we think about coming through COVID, everybody knows we had lots of challenges and disruptions with COVID. But I think everybody thought, boy, once we get through COVID, it's going to be back to normal. We're going to have all our workers back. We're not going to have supply chain issues anymore. Energy costs will be back to normal. And it's been just the opposite. And all those struggles you've had to go through have been related to that. And what's been frustrating about this current administration in the first 2 years is they haven't focused on any of these issues, right? COVID was bad enough. And so as we think about our new Republican majority and this committee and looking at all those issues you've articulated, supply chain issues, energy costs, how do we get back to energy independence, worker retention, we hear you loud and clear here today on those things. And that's part of why we're here today on our first hearing is to take that message back. Mr. Pfluger, I want to just touch on a comment that you made in your opening statement as it related to trade. Your statement, American hardwood producers suffered because of retaliatory tariffs imposed on your products. I'm not a fan of tariffs. To me, tariffs are taxes. They're taxes on businesses. They're taxes on consumers. And obviously, the trade war was detrimental to you. Can you talk a little bit about that period and what it meant for jobs, production, and profit to your company?
Well, that period became a pure survival period for most of us in the hardwood industry because that was so devastating to our industry. It made our products uncompetitive in those marketplaces, and we are not a business that can just pass along whatever additional costs come up to our customers. We are a supply and demand business. If our prices get too high on our products, our customers will simply look to a replacement product and they'll go to something else. So, for us to operate during that period, most companies operate during that period, they were operating at a loss to try to keep their employees, to keep their business going and just to survive that period. I understand the reasons for the tariffs and what was trying to be accomplished there, but when you're caught in the middle of that, it's an extremely uncomfortable place to be.
And I think you mentioned you had to close down 2 mills during that period?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Yeah. Maybe just a follow-up on that. We're dealing extensively on how we deal with China. If I understand your export market, about 60% of your hardwoods go to China.
That's correct.
So as we look at policy decisions, we look at the malign activities that China is engaged in all around the world, any suggestions you have for us as we look at how you deal with China?
I'm afraid that one's probably way above my pay grade, sir, but again, that is where a lot of the secondary manufacturing for furniture is. That's where our furniture comes from, in large part, is from those manufacturing plants. As well as just about everything that we buy in the store. So I think that's something that America's got to take a hard look at, is where our goods come from, and that if you are in a position of having to deal with a controversial power, where does that leave all of us who are depending on those goods, and a company like us depending on that trade?
Gotcha. Maybe Ms. Bachman, real quick here, we've heard a lot about reliable broadband and making sure we get that to our rural areas. It's a huge issue, that digital divide, how we bridge that, how we bring that connectivity. Can you talk about broadband as it affects maybe your children in their school or your business?
It affects our business constantly. So we have Square for our point of sale, and they guarantee that they can go and accept credit card payments when we are offline, but a lot of times when it comes back on, we just cannot capture that payment. So we're losing actual, whole sales because of internet. And, in a lot of big cities, I know that they're doing like the QR code menus in order to keep up with the inflation rates. And, we can't rely on that because we don't have a good internet infrastructure in our area.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.